This week's video and podcast lesson. So, as always, we produce our videos and podcasts to help you develop your English. More specifically, we help you with your pronunciation, help you to understand definitions, and to use examples of English you are likely to hear in everyday life here in the UK. Our aim is to help you to improve your understanding of advanced English terminology. This week, we look at words and phrases surrounding gap years. This is when students take a break from studies to do work or maybe to go travelling. We will look at the following words this week. Firstly, gap year, self-growth, retail job, and internship. Why not leave a comment in the comments box asking questions about what you've heard today, or any words you would like further explanation of. Don't forget to like our video so we can get our videos out to more people, and to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to stay until the end to test your knowledge by taking our quiz. Anyway, let's start with the first word. The first word we have for you this week is gap year. So let's have a look at how we pronounce gap year. Gap year. And let's take another look at that. Gap year. So let's look deeper into the definition now. This is an academic year usually taken by a student after school or college before they go to university. That's an interesting definition. Now let's have a look at an example. People usually get a job and travel during their gap year. In this case, Steve took a gap year in 2018-19, where he worked in a restaurant. In his free time, he went visiting different parts of the UK. The next word we will look at today is retail job. Now let's have a look at how we pronounce this. Retail job. Let's have another look. Retail job. So what is the definition? Well, let's take a look. This is a job which involves selling things to customers, usually in shops or online. These are usually sold as physical or electronic items. Now let's take a look at an example that we could use. Gareth's job during his gap year was a retail job, working in his local supermarket. The third word this week is one where we improve, and this is self-growth. So let's take a closer look at how we may pronounce this. Self-growth. And again, self-growth. So now let's have a look at the definition. This is when someone improves in areas such as their emotional, spiritual, physical, social, and economic skills. So now let's have a look at an exciting example. Jane found that travelling by herself and meeting new people during her gap year enabled her to achieve self-growth. The fourth word in this week's lesson is independence. And let's have a look a little more closely in how to pronounce this word. Independence. And again, independence. So there's how to pronounce the word. Now let's look in more detail on the definition. This is when someone is able to do everything they need to do without any help. So let's have a look a little more closely at an example which involves independence. Alice enjoyed the feeling of independence when she left school and took a gap year. She was able to live on her own and travel to her favourite places. Our final word for this week is internship. So let's have a look at how we might pronounce this. Internship. And let's have another look at that one. Internship. So there was the pronunciation. Now let's move on to the definition. So this is when someone works for a company in order to learn the necessary skills to do the job. These jobs are either paid or unpaid. So now let's have a look at an example to further understand internship. Steve took an internship in a large company during his gap year. This allowed him to pay for his trips to other countries. We've now reached the end of today's lesson, which means it's time for the quiz on the gap year lesson. So let's have a look at this one then. So, where would you be working if you had a retail job? Would you be working in a grocery store, a hospital, or in a school? And the answer to this week's quiz is, of course, grocery store. This is because people in grocery stores sell physical items to customers who come in and buy them. And the definition was, it's someone who is selling physical or electronic items to customers. So people working in a hospital wouldn't be in retail jobs because they do not sell anything to patients, and neither in a school either because teachers do not sell things to their students. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to join us again next time. If you have any questions about this video or would like us to explain a term for you from any context, then please post your question in the comments box below. We are always happy to help. Don't forget to like our video to help us get more viewers and expand our channel in order to provide you an even better service. Why not hit the subscribe bell and icon so you never miss our future videos?